Hello YouTube stackers. This is ST with Silver Stacking 101, where we always believe in staying stacked and packed, stacked with silver, gold, food, ammo, and packed with the means necessary to defend our stack. A few weeks ago we started a video series on the economics of silver. We compare the economy to a pot of soup that is always cooking. The pot of soup constantly changes chefs. Each chef is selected partially by us, and the chef has a wide latitude of what ingredients he or she wishes to add to or remove from the economic soup pot. We discussed the current chef is centering his economic plan on 5 items: increased reliance on domestic energy, deregulation, lower taxes, tax reform, trade policies to correct trade imbalances, and the willingness to go to a weak dollar in order to correct trade imbalances. This week we are going to talk about deregulation. Deregulation will be the one ingredient that the current chef will enjoy broad support from both parties. This is going to be one time we're going to see the Democrats and the Republicans come together, sing Kumbaya, and do this. The media will not give deregulation the attention it deserves. And deregulation, despite its broad support, has the potential to cause us the most economic harm when not done correctly. Historically, regulation and deregulation has followed a pendulum when it comes to financial regulation. Either we over-regulate or we over-deregulate. There's no happy medium. I want to give an example from my personal life that will illustrate how this works. The example I'm going to use is my alcohol consumption historically. Never been a real big drinker. I don't drink any now because I'm on blood pressure medicine. The doctor says don't drink. I listen to her, so I don't drink. Pretty simple. But during my adult life, my alcohol consumption was somewhat moderate. I would go to a party once or twice a month during the summer. Over the winter months, there'd be months I didn't go. If I was driving and I went to a party, I would never consume more than one drink. If I wasn't driving, usually 2 drinks. But every once in a blue moon, every few years, I would go to a party or a cookout, usually a cookout this happened at, having a good day, good time, didn't have to drive, and I would take a 3rd drink. Now, the first 2 made me feel really good. The 3rd one made me feel great. I'll take a 4th drink, 5th drink, etc. Before I knew it, I was in the restroom, on my knees, worshiping the porcelain goddess, offering us the sacrifice of my stomach contents. Then end up on a cool linoleum floor. It felt so good. Didn't even mind the little bits of urine where people missed the bowl because the cool floor felt so good. Later that evening, I would lay in bed and make a deal with God. God, please let this feeling go away. I will never drink again. Next day, hungover. It was terrible. The 2nd day afterwards, still tired. You've been there, most likely. If you haven't, good for you, don't go there. It's not a good feeling. But a lot of people's been there. So, here's what I would do. I would totally swear off all alcohol consumption. Wasn't going to drink again. I would show up for parties about time to eat, leave, wouldn't hang around. Well, that wasn't good. Those regulations that I imposed upon myself were totally unnecessary because the way I normally did it, one drink if I'm driving, two drinks if I'm not, didn't hurt a thing. It was great. I enjoyed it. So I would realize, hey, I didn't have a problem before. Go back to the way I was doing things. Some time would pass. The cycle would repeat every 4 or 5 years. Not good. Shouldn't have done it. Not proud of it, but it happened, right? Same thing with the economy, folks. We went through a massive period of financial deregulation in the 80s and 90s. The mortgage home crisis is a direct result of over deregulation. Now, I don't want to get between two people's business transaction. If I'm not a party to the transaction, I don't want to have any say so. However, if I'm going to be responsible for bearing the cost when the transaction fails, I want some say so. And that's what we're looking at with the economy with social cost. Everybody watching this video has paid some cost for the 2008 mortgage meltdown. I promise you, you have. Excuse the camera shake. So, a certain amount of deregulation works. However, when we overly deregulate, we get drunk. I say we as a society, as businesses, off easy money regardless of the consequences. And when 2008 happens and we're in front of the economic toilet puking our guts out, we tend to over-regulate and go back the other way. It's a continual pendulum. We are backing off from regulation. This week, the United States Senate voted bipartisan to ease the Dodd-Frank restrictions on capital requirements of banks, which will make it easier for people to get home loans. That could be a good thing. Another issue with government deregulation is the benefactors of the deregulation have a lot of money and they like to buy congressmen. Let me provide a concrete example. Think about Enron. Up to that point, the biggest bankruptcy in United States history. Enron had an outside auditing firm, Arthur Andersen, to audit their books. When a company utilizes an outside auditing firm, that firm's really working for the investing public, not the company. They have to maintain independence and objectivity because an investor like you or I should be able to pick up audited financial statements and rely that they are accurate and in compliance with general accepted accounting principles and relying on the Financial Accounting Standards Board regulations. So it's a uniform playbook. But Arthur Andersen was also in an unaffiliated division, I use that term lightly, providing consulting services to Enron. Several people within the accounting profession had a problem with this and was trying to get a law passed that could not happen. Not just Arthur Andersen, other big firms were doing the same thing. The consulting work was basically easy money for the accounting firm. Now, the audit team for Arthur Andersen, assigned to Enron, found the special purpose entities that was basically hiding liabilities and off-book transactions. Big, huge no-no. They took their concerns to Arthur Andersen's management, but Arthur Andersen's management overruled their concerns because they were getting all this consulting money read bribes from Enron. Now, within the accounting profession, there was a push for a law that you can't do that. Enron and the big accounting firms subtly made huge campaign contributions to both Republican and Democratic elected officials. Kenneth Lay, the CEO of Enron, wrote this wonderful letter how Arthur Andersen's advice on their consulting was instrumental to the continued success of Enron. And that letter was circulated to the campaign donation recipients as well. Suddenly, we had Republicans and Democrats that had no idea how the audit process really works, suddenly developed strong opinions it was not necessary to institute this regulation. Think of all the thousands of people that bore the social cost from lack of regulation. I'm not against deregulation because we overreacted after 2008. However, I'm apprehensive that we are going to overreact the other direction because historically that's exactly what happened. It will feel good when we initially deregulate. The economy will roll. The effects will be felt years down the road. And we're going to pick up on that issue when we talk about the debt after we finish tax reform. Thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Comment, agree, disagree. Subscribe if you haven't. God bless you. Stay stacked and packed.